I'd even press the intro. That's how kind of yeah. Well, it's one of those ones, isn't it? It's like we just watched Liverpool try to play football, and we've just tried to go live with an intro. Like, what was worse, Kev? Like, like what was poor effort? Like, no, I'm feeling like that, mate. I'm feeling like that. I've got a toothpick here. I just feel like just picking my teeth, the meat out of my teeth, more than the meat out of that game. But I got to say hello to everyone else first before I say hello to you. Welcome. You're very welcome to post-match carnage. Liverpool 2, Leicester City 1, or should I say, Woot Feast 2, Leicester City 1. Leicester City score all 3 goals, walk away with 0 points. Liverpool give a performance that we're going to discuss and try to make sense of. Help us. We're not perfect. We don't know. Help us explain that performance. But Cav, I know you was nervous because you was making it obvious in the WhatsApp group. But how you feeling now, mate? Any better?
You know what? In a few minutes, I think I'll be all right. I'm still just trying to recover from that because you know what? I messaged you during that game, didn't I? And I just said, I'm absolutely hating this. I am hating this game. We're going to come on to it, but it was nail biting. We were terrible. Leicester were terrible. You're probably not going to see a Premier League game with such bad quality. It was entertaining for all the wrong reasons. And I could have I think I messaged you on about the 70th minute and I weren't liking it. I could have messaged you on any minute. It was not good throughout, but here we are.
It was, it was tough. Gandahar says, appreciate the support. He says, Thiago is tired by doing Hendo, Fab, and his own job. Yeah, look, we're going to get into it. Wolves F1 says that was cheap 3 points for Liverpool, mainly thanks to root fees. Weirdest game ever. In my opinion, our worst performance of the season. We'll think about it. We'll talk about it. Still thinking you're finishing second, Grizz. Liverpool are just not very good this year. No, we're not. We're not. Just 2 points off fourth place, though. Mad season. Stefan says, what the F was that? Yeah, pretty much everyone of the same opinion. I'm trying to see if anyone's got a hot take or, one of those ones that sort of brightens up the mood or anything. But nah. Oh, here we go. There's one. I guess we're going to talk about that. Yeah. Maybe they need another break. Yeah, mate. I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm tired watching them be tired after 5 minutes, if you know what I mean. Like, I guess we've got to start where we always do with the lineups. I mean, Tom sends in a super chat. He says Thiago has been a one-man midfield all season. I'm not sure he's been great himself throughout the season, but yeah, for sure he was the shining light today. Guys, let's get the likes up as you enter. I know you guys are probably thinking, no intro, what's going on here? But we went straight into it. No time to waste. So smash up those like buttons. Before you smash out the opinions on certain players. There was another super chat I missed. Can you find it?
This one.
There you go. Sorry, thank you. How many midfielders do you think would fix this after watching that performance? Lol. Yeah, you're right. Glad you lolled at the end. And wouldn't De Jong be a better option over Casado after watching that, Javendra? After watching that, you really want Frankie De Jong over Casado, who would have? I don't know, man. Josh says only Liverpool can come back from own goals. Mate, I don't even know what to make of it all. Stephen Somerville, Irish Rugby, sends in a generous super chat. Says, relieved we got the 3 points, but that wasn't good enough. Brentford will be no pushover. They will bring their A game. And if we don't improve on these performances and mistakes, we could be in trouble. I think we've seen that, man. I think we've seen that. We are in trouble. But look, guys, 300 of you settled in here. I appreciate you guys are probably coming in, rolling in, watching that game. Probably wanting to see the quotes from Klopp's press conference or what he was interviewed after the game. Keep us abreast of any breaking news as such. If there's any talks or whatever, anything that he says that we're not aware of, because obviously we've come live straight away. But Cav, lineup. We might have thought Khanage we were discussing might have come in. No, sticks with Matip. Fabinho misses out because his missus is expecting, and that's obviously personal reasons. but we all to a man thought, if Fabinho's going to miss a game out of the next two, this is the one to miss, right? Home to Leicester City. An out of form Leicester City, a shambolic Leicester City that was against Newcastle.
Yeah, look, there's no easy games in the Premier League. We know that now. You know, we've been stung so many times through having, let's face it, a pretty weak and abysmal midfield this season through various reasons, injuries being the main one. But Leicester were in bad form. We spoke about it in the preview. You know, they've got injuries themselves. It's a bit of a, thrown together team. So we should go out there and dominate with the options that we had. And we'll come on to the game. But as it turns out, we actually lost a hell of a lot of battles in midfield. So initially, when I seen the lineup, I was like, Fabinho's out. It's not great. But Henderson, we know he can play the 6. And he's had decent games in the 6. But as the game transpired, I certainly was sitting there thinking, oh, gosh, I kind of wish we had Fabinho today because we needed a bit of fight in there. We needed a bit of steel. And I know he's not had a great season up to now, but that is his role, and from the 1 game, 2 games he's had since he's come back, he's looked a little bit better. So, that was a bit of a shame. But, if his missus is having a child, you can't really argue with that. You can't say anything. It is what it is. You deal with these things.
Absolutely.
And I think the only one we discussed after that was maybe the centre-back position. We was thinking about perhaps Khanage coming in. Not too sure what the thinking was there as to why he didn't start this game. But the rest of the lineup probably picks itself, be it that we got a good result against Villa.
Yeah. I mean, the other option, obviously, the other glaring issue that we've got, obviously, until the signing of Cody Gakpo, which hopefully helps, is the left wing situation. Ox had to go again. As you say, we got no option. Again, he was pretty much a ghost, but we're not going to target Ox because by far he wasn't the worst player on the pitch by far. He was anonymous, but he wasn't the shittest. There's a difference, and we're going to get into the shitness of some of our players today. Matip wasn't good. Matip wasn't good at all. Matip was atrocious, I thought. Absolutely atrocious throughout the game. Sofa scores, we're using Sofa scores. Sofa scores ratings are far better than, what was it, FootMob we use sometimes. Because these are I kind of agree with these kind of ratings. For you, I guess we start off with the back. It was a horror show from Robertson. Van Dijk wasn't much better, but Matip was passive, so passive. Cav, what was it?
I must admit, Grizz, and this has happened too many times this season, whereby the game starts and you just can't quite believe what you're seeing. Like, we'll come on to the game and we'll discuss the tactics and stuff, but to put it quite simply, the play is just not good enough. It's just not good enough. Not even to a Liverpool standard, but to a Premier League standard, and then just a basic footballing standard. Do you know what I mean? At times out there, I was watching this going, Jesus, they don't even look like professional footballers with some of these howler of passes and what have you. It was from probably, I thought, like, I always assess the first 5 minutes of games and try and understand what Liverpool are going to turn up. Is it going to be high tempo? Are we on the front foot? Is the passing clean and stuff? And for a few minutes, it looked as though that was the case. People were kind of zipping passes into each other and it looked okay. But then after the first ball was given away, which I'm not sure if it was Matip or Robbo, but those were the big criminals at the start of the game with it. It just fell away. That rustiness just set in and we got ourselves in a rut and we just looked terrible at the very, very basics. And the back four and the midfield were just abysmal. I've got to say it. They were abysmal in that first half, especially.
Just a couple of things. We've got a quote from Van Dijk. Apparently, out the game is at times we were very poor tonight. It sounds cliche, but it's important to win these games. It wasn't good enough today. We all know that. Plenty of things we have to do. Okay. Acknowledgement is, I guess, we're going to talk about this right now. In any second, we're going to talk about this. Thank you very much for that. Ryan, appreciate the support. He says, our mids have no player that can drive by anybody. Hold on to that thought, Cab. We're going to discuss this. So our midfielders have no players that can drive by anybody. Elliot's physicality, Grizz. He's not ready, says Ash. I want want to sort of talk about both these super chats, and it goes back to what me and you, not just me and you, we're not fucking soccer tacticals that only we can work this out and no one else has worked this out. But how many times have we said legs, 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 energy, energy, physical, 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 nothing. The first goal kick goes out. Matic tries to win the ball past the halfway line, right? The guy manages to flick it into Dewsbury Hall. No, is it straight to Dewsbury Hall? Is it 3 touches? Or is there someone else who gets a touch?
I think it goes to Daka, who then lays it back to Dewsbury Hall, who's making that third man run. Yeah.
So the first super chat was about sort of we don't have anyone that can drive with the ball. We also definitely don't have that. We also definitely don't have anyone who's got the physical attributes to go with runners as well. That was quite embarrassing at this level, to be able to slice through a defense, a team of our caliber, the players that we've got, the organization that we used to have, we used to be praised about, the organization, the communication, goal kick, one layoff, another tap in, another pass layoff into Dewsbury, who by the way was magnificent, and I rate him so highly. He just ran through the goal pitch and scored. Kev, like how is this happening?
Embarrassing is the exact right word for it. It is embarrassing because like we concede all kind of goals this season, right? But that goal, you know, and that type of goal whereby we've just been carved open through the center of the park so easily has happened way too often. And I must admit, I remember thinking a few years back when like Arsenal were a good side, but you could always hit them, you could always hurt them. And I remember them being a bit of a laughing stock. There was always a soft touch. At times, we are that soft touch. And like, they carved us open, but purely because people didn't want to win their 50-50s. Like, a very basic of football.
Can I say something, Kev? I don't think they've got the physical attributes to win their 50-50. I don't think it's a matter of desire, or they're scared, or they're bottling it. Right, you know, when we know when they're bottling it. I think they're trying and scurrying away, but I don't think they've got the physical attributes. I forgot to put in the group. They brought back Ndidi, pretty much probably half fit, hasn't been fit for ages, whatever, right? He hasn't played the last game because they knew, put a bit of muscle in there and they're going to bully us. That's all they done. They put Samare and Ndidi in the midfield and gave Dewsbury Hall plenty of freedom to go and press the rest. Sumare and Ndidi bullied the shit out of our central midfielders, Cav. I know you're saying like second balls and first ball. They couldn't do it. Physically, they couldn't do it.
But what? But the thing is, there's no excuse for that, right? There shouldn't be any excuse, because when we've spoken about like Henderson and Elliott and things like this and Fabinho and what have you, and we criticize them this season because of how bad they've been and their availability and things like this. But this is a fundamental basic. If there's a ball in the air and it's a 50-50, commit to it. This is about commitment. Do you know what I mean? And for so long, we have been that team that we've not always played the best football. We've not always been the most silkiest, you know, team in the world, you know, but we've had fight in our team. We've always been willing to win the first challenge and the second challenge. And it's a strange thing in football whereby if you win a first ball or you win a second ball, regardless of whether it goes where you expect it to, or as long as you win it, stuff just happens. Stuff just happens if you make sure you win that ball. And Liverpool they're just way too soft. That's all. They're just way too. And I don't know if it's because we've had so many injuries that there's individuals in this team that subconsciously are just not 100% committed to these challenges. I don't know if there's a bit of fear about, you know, taking a knock and getting injured, or, you know, if you get a knock, it can take the wind out your sails and you're a bit fearful that you might not be able to see out a full 90 minutes. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it's an excuse, because if you play for Liverpool Football Club, you need to be committed, and it's not good enough to just stand off people and let them roll you around.
Conroy's in the building. Hope you're doing well, Conroy. Conroy says, smash the likes, guys. There's close to 400 of you in here. Smash the like, hit the like, tap the like, touch the like. Do what you got to do, but do the like button. It helps. You know it helps. Come on, guys. We're feeling a bit down after 3 points at home. We shouldn't be feeling down. That makes it 4 victories in a row now in the league, Cav. I guess as far as sort of I guess we don't even need to look far in terms of saying turning point. Let's just look at the game, because from there onwards, you expect a comeback from Liverpool, the tempo being increased, the pace of passing being increased, players being brave on the ball, concentration on the ball. We saw none of that. We saw none of that. We saw none of that. Nothing changed. It was flat as a pancake. The crowd didn't help. They were awful today as well. I'm sorry, match-going fans today. You guys were as bad as the team. So, Leicester City were telling us about ourselves, and I couldn't hear any support as well, positive. But my God, did Liverpool not even give them anything to shout about? As you say, a crunching tackle, a press, a team press into a mistake. I mean, we're going to get on to a mistake, but it wasn't because of a team press or the crowd or anything. Nothing of the sort lifted the crowd. There was not one player on that pitch that was trying to lift the crowd, apart from Darwin Nunez. Every time he got the ball, he was trying to create something. And I guess he creates the first chance where he gets the ball on that left of his now, and the defender knows you're in trouble, son. He skins him, very similar to what he does against Man City. Squares it across to Mohamed Salah. It's a bit of an awkward one, would you say? Or do you think he should be hitting the target? It's a little bit kind of behind him. Clean strike, but that's our first chance of the game.
Yeah, and like you say, it all comes about because of Nunez's desire to make something happen, be willing to take somebody on, not just go sideways, not go backwards, not fall into the trap of, oh yeah, we're just going to mull around today. No, go out there and do something, make something happen. And he did. I think he pulls it back really nicely. And when people tell me he's not a good cross with the ball, or he's not, technical or this and that, well, there's evidence there. And we see it most weeks where he skins someone and pulls it back. We'll come on to the chance he created for Salah later on, but he does make stuff happen. And I don't feel like some of the criticism, okay, around his finishing, that's a different conversation, but around his overall play is a bit, overplayed at time. I think he does some decent stuff in and around the box. And Salah, the chance, it's probably a tougher chance. I've not watched it back, but a man of his quality, we've seen him make that run in, across the sort of box on the penalty spot, and just on his stronger foot, just managed to nick it into that near post. But he just hit the side netting on this occasion. And look, to be honest, I think that was probably the only chance. No, there was a few more, but Salah today just missing, absolutely missing. We'll come on to some of the chances that we had in the sort of second half, but you felt as though we needed to take it because we were one down at this time and we weren't really creating too much. The whole thing was lethargic. As you said, the crowd was quiet, and yeah, bad from them, but also bad from the team. The team gave them nothing to shout about. You really felt like, we just need to get a goal. Just give us a goal somehow, just to, spark us into life here, because this is not good. We're gonna walk away from this game thinking what we've been thinking against Leeds and Forest and all these teams, where it's like
it was going through my head. It was going through my head. I was thinking.
And so I sit here watching the games and I go, I have no excuse. I'm not gonna try and excuse this kind of performance. I understand the injuries are there. I understand the bench isn't particularly strong, and it has to be the starting 11 that really goes out and wins it. But the starting 11 is good enough, and then you see that first sort of half, and it's just terrible. So yeah, you see chances like that, and you really feel like you're gonna have to take them, because you get a feeling in a game, don't you? You always kind of sense a game whether you're going to get chances or not. And yeah, you felt like that was an important chance in that first half.
We were discussing sort of grit, determination, winning your duels. I forgot to bring this up earlier. I started. Solin says Gini and Sadio used to do that for us. We know that Gini used to win his one-on-ones. Sadio definitely used to try to early. It's mad, isn't it? He was an attacker that used to try to bully his fullback. You know what I mean? Normally it's the other way around, right? The fullback or the centre-backs try to bully the forwards. Our boy used to bully fullbacks and let them know that, you guys know how strong I am. Like, are you going to try to really come up against me? Feel the power. Do you know what I mean? Like, I see Mo do it sometimes as well. But as you said, I tweeted that after 30 minutes, Cav, that this is the worst 30 minutes I can remember. And we've seen a few this season. So maybe Napoli and whatnot. But in the league at home even though we lost against Leeds, we created loads of chances from what I remember. Who was the other team that we Have we lost to someone else at home? Well, no, it's just Leeds, isn't it?
Just Leeds, yeah.
Just Leeds. I couldn't see how we changed it. The worst part of it, Cav, was we looked at the subs bench, and I don't know how we change it or what we change it to. Was that your worst fear as well? Like, the players on the pitch are the ones that have to change this.
Yeah, definitely. And I've got to admit, and I don't like singling players out, but you have to after a performance like this. I was sitting there, I think after 30 minutes, and I was looking at Henderson, and I know he's the captain, but I was like, I actually feel like this guy needs to be off the pitch. Like, how he wasn't winning any duel. He was giving every ball away in like key areas as well, overhitting passes, everything that every time the ball came near him, he was pretty terrible. And I was looking at it going, you know what? Sometimes you just need to get a guy out the firing line. Like we're just watching this guy just fall to pieces. And look, he kind of improved in the second half. Overall, his game was terrible. But then you look at the bench and thinking, well, how can you change it? How? You know, and unless you bring in Bacetić on, who's a very young man, and you know, we spoke about him in recent weeks about his quality and stuff. It is still quite early in the game, and that would have been a massive statement to take him off. And he's not the only one, but you are even as early as 30 minutes looking at the bench going, we probably need to change something here because this isn't right. This isn't working. And I tell you what, I will give some credit to Leicester because they weren't much better themselves, I'll be honest. But tactically, they did well, you know. They recognised that Liverpool try and win that midfield battle, and then the fullbacks are our main attacking outlet. And what they did was they put three in midfield in Ndidi, Soumaré, and Dewsbury Hall, and they just matched up man for man. They just backed themselves. They'd win all the battles, and they'd go man for man against Thiago, Henderson, and Elliott. And then what they did is they had Perez and Barnes. They made sure they came back on defence. So in transitions, when Trent's usually picking his head up and spraying them balls out to Robbo, they weren't there because Ayoze Perez was covering. So it was very difficult for us to try and build up. You know, it was trying to work some angles and try, you know, get a bit of possession in, you know, playing football and passing around and stuff. So I do give Brendan and Leicester a little bit of credit. I thought they set up tactically quite well against us. And once they got it back, you know, they had Dewsbury Hall that was able to sort of turn people and drive forward and stuff. So, you know, just a bit of acknowledgement. Yeah, a bit of acknowledgement for them. Yeah.
No, fair enough. He was under pressure. Do you know what I mean? They had a stinking performance against Newcastle at home, and you can see they were up for it. But that's the least any team you know you're playing against should be the required basics, right? The team going to be up for it against you. Ryan sends in a super chat. He says, Trent and Robbo having to play long down the line all game, no midfield control with or without the ball, countered too easily and not enough chances created. If we just break this down, like he's made about 4 or 5 points and they're all spot on pretty much today, Cav. The amount of time Trent and Robertson had to just play the ball down the line, what we so used to is, okay, Trent's allowed to pick his pass. Robertson, not so much. What Robertson requires is when Robertson's on the ball, he requires the left winger, Ox, in today's scenario, and Thiago to make angles for him. Thiago, I don't think started off great, and Ox was anonymous. And therefore, as a result, Robertson today had a stinking game as well. I know we've praised him, and I'm sorry, Conroy, if you're in the chat, but I think you'd probably agree today Robertson was awful today. His final pass, you know, when he did manage to get some space down the left, you know, it was atrocious. There was no, even in the first goal, a lot of people are saying he played offside. He tried to play offside in that kind of situation where there's no pressure on the ball. You don't play offside when there's no pressure. You track the runner when there's no pressure on the ball. I thought, and then the midfield, I guess we get into it even before we get into the goal. I think we need to have a little segment on the midfield. We know it's our weakness, but if today isn't glaringly obvious to Klopp and Kall that we can't even go through the season with these options, I don't know what is, Kev. Because everything there is spot on. No midfield control with or without the ball today. And that's crazy.
I love that from Ryan. He's highlighted a great point with and without the ball, and that is key, right? So we know this, and I'm sorry if we have to repeat ourselves again, but Liverpool's identity under Klopp is the basis of it is a high press, okay? And what we were always fantastic at is having the front guys, Salah, Firmino, and Mane, be the initial pressers, right? And then everybody in the midfielders back them up, and the defenders come up the pitch, and you compress the pitch, right? And what we've really probably not appreciated since he's gone is that Mane was an incredible presser of the ball. Like he was quite often the trigger for the press. His body positioning, the speed at which he flew at the defender, and the amount of times he simply just won it back. Same with Firmino dropping in the hole, and then Salah did his bit, but less so. And then the midfield tucked in. What I'm seeing today is midfielders just running beyond the forwards, trying to press individually. I'm seeing Thiago do it, Henderson do it, Trent did it on occasion by himself, and the forwards just don't know what to do. So it looks like our entire pressing tactics, they're just not there. I don't know what they're quite working on, but they're not pressing as a team. They're not smart enough in compacting the right areas. They're just doing everything as individuals. And when you do that against, teams that have players that are confident on the ball, they'll just pass around you. And then what happens is we kind of fall into a trap of, are we pressing? Are we dropping off? And we don't really have a style in the game for a while. And then you look at, okay, on the ball then, once we get it, what do we do? And quite often there's not a man in midfield, like someone mentioned earlier, that's going to get the ball and drive through midfield, take someone on, exploit space in that midfield. They always look sideways. It's the same kind of pass, get it out to the fullbacks and see what the fullback's going to do. The trouble is when the fullback picks his head up, all the forwards are running forward. Not one person is dropping in the hole going, give it me. I'll give you a triangle. I'll give you an option. I'll give you a 1-2. There's not that selfless player that's doing it. So every ball's just, and we've seen it since we've come back after the break. There's so many like driven balls into the forward lines, whether they're be on the ground or high, and they're just nowhere near the players. And it's like, what they meant to do with this? Like, what is Salah and Nunez meant to do with this kind of ball that's just driven straight at them, not at an angle, just literally drove straight at them or put down a line? It just stems from a lack of confidence in the play. Someone needs to have that ability and confidence to pick up the ball and bind the team together, bind the pattern of passing together. And we just don't have it. And that's why I sort of, just a bit off topic, I was a bit excited about Gakpo coming in, because I kind of thought, he's not that crazy forward. He's not on the shoulder, but maybe we need this sometimes. One of the forwards just to drop in and just help the midfield out, get the ball and just, recycle it and create a different angle, a different pass. That's what Maddison does. Obviously, weren't there for Leicester, but that's what he does. In that gap, I felt like we really lacked that. And then, like as I say, sideways passing, inviting pressure, a lot of things just stem from it, and it's not good to see.
It isn't good to see. Hit up the likes, people. 400 of you. Blue Chips in the building. He says, sorry, I couldn't make it. Here we go. Sorry, I missed the show today. Toothache, Grizz. Nappy deserves a mention. Arthur is back next week. Fingers crossed. Sorry, missed the show today. Yeah, we're sorry you missed the show today. Toothache, Grizz. Yeah, hope you get well soon, son. Okay, we'll give Nappy a mention later on. I have absolute no faith or hope or any excitement about Arthur being at back and it affecting anything. I just don't rate him. I'm sorry. Gav, check this stat out I read. We lost possession 24 times in that first half. Explain that.
And you know what, Grizz, is this
24 times, Gav.
But there has been periods and in games, I know we've been really successful in the past, but we have seen the odd game whereby under Klopp, this team turns up, and unless that workman-like midfield is working and the fullbacks are getting free, we tend to lack passing intelligence. And I know it's probably stems from the fact we have industrious midfielders, workhorses and stuff, but we always seem to, and Thiago's kind of been that guy for us, since he's come in, but just having that, and this is where people I think want to move away from this industrious midfield and have the technical guys, people that just get on the ball and they're smart and they play, passes to each other and triangles and control the game, a bit like how Man City do it in some, and they do it particularly well. But the passing, I do at times, I look at it and I just think, as brilliant as we can be, what do they work on in training? I see a lot of patterns with getting the fullbacks high and wide and crossing from deep with Trent and then Robert getting to the byline and underlaps and stuff. But then where's that passing intelligence out the back, you know, and in the mid center of the park. I don't see it. And I think it's an area we really need to improve on, whether it be on the training ground or a different type of midfielder. But we need to improve.
Pixelated Pigeon says, Thiago doesn't seem to be pulling the strings quite as much these days. We struggle to get him on the ball in good positions. This is exactly what we're talking about. Thiago is without doubt the most technical and the player with the most vision. But when you give him players, we have to call them out. Like Ox, Hendo, Elliot was poor. Like Elliot was atrocious today. But for me, young players get a pass more than experienced players. Like, I'm not defending Elliot in terms of saying he was good in any way, shape, or form. And we've discussed how does Elliot fit in this Klopp team. But Ox, his runs are so unintelligent, Kev. I don't know how else to say it. Like Thiago can make you play, but he couldn't make Ox play. He couldn't make Hendo play. Like Hendo, that's a Hall of Fame performance. Let's just put it out there. I think that is one of his worst performances in a Liverpool shirt, Cav. It was disgusting to see Henderson out there. He was a sad shadow of himself. He wasn't even shouting and getting angry because he knew he was having a stinker of stinkers. You know, normally he rallies everyone else and then something happens. But he was so shit. He knew I shouldn't even be on the pitch. But you're right. Who does he bring on? Well, maybe he could have brought on Naby Keita, or that would have been too much of a upheaval and even less height on the pitch, because you've got to remember, no Fabinho, no Khanage. Was that an issue, or it's difficult to take off your skipper after 30 minutes, 40 minutes?
Yeah, and you'd at least get in at half time and give Klopp a chance to get into him and maybe change something, you know, and give him a different role, or just tell him something he's maybe forgotten the build up, just to help him out, you know. A lot of times, you know, those fans think, oh, it's just a rocket up their arse and just have a go at them. But actually what it is, as you see from like the Inside Football documentary and stuff, it's tactical, and just, you know, he's doing this today and he's making that third man rule. Make sure you're covering that and doing that and help him out. But he improved slightly in the second half. It would have been a big statement to take him off, be it the captain. And as you say, if you'd have took him off for like Fabinho, you'd be like, okay. But if you're going to take him off for Naby or Bajcetic, it's like, okay, that's a move. Do you know what I mean? That's a bit of a statement to say how bad he was. So I think it
is. You're right. I think you've nailed it. If Fabinho's on the bench there, then you can understand it, and Hendo and everyone else just calls it a bad day and just runs down the tunnel and gets changed. Doesn't even sit on the bench like that. How bad it was. But you're right. If you take him out for Bajcetic, you're taking off your skipper. That's a massive, huge call. And then if you're taking him off for Naby, who's leaving the club in a couple of months, you know, whatever, that's a huge call as well. Miata sends in a super chat, says, I thought sorry for Gakpo, he had to watch that. But I love football opinions. Look, TaylorMade says, Grizz giving Harvey a pass, but if that's Naby, that's all we're talking about right now. And then someone else comes back and says, Naby made no difference, I want him out the door. Do you know what I mean? It's the variety of opinions when shit hits the fan is mad, isn't it? But today we got away with it. And I was going to say, I don't know how, but we do, right, Kev? We know how we got away with it, because we've got a centre-back. Everyone thought Ward is going to be our sort of spy and he's going to work it for us. Do you know what I mean? But we've got David Luiz lookalike, who's got no history of helping Liverpool in the past, but it seems like his younger brother was hell-bent on making us look good today. Was it a Trent cross? Yeah, Trent cross, a good cross, decent cross into that corridor of uncertainty, cricket term used on a football pitch. No, not rated. I mean, okay.
He hits it right. He hits it from really wide on the pitch. Okay, and I think that's the reason why. And I mean, Trent's got a lot of power in his cross, but he kind of had enough just to get it to the front post. It was going at the front post, and I don't think any of our players were getting there. I've got to be honest. Like, and this guy just comes out and he just hacks it. You know, comes out. He tries to side foot it, which probably is the right technique, but gets it all wrong. And it felt like it looped for a lifetime. Like, because it was just, you know, one of them where you're just watching it and you're just like, is this?
Yeah. Like the players didn't know. No one knew what is going to happen next. Like, do you remember? Did you ever watch what's it called, man? That sports program that used to be on, man. Emlyn Hughes, all that lot. Old school, not Countdown. People help me. Question of Sport. Did you ever watch Question of Sport?
Question of Sport,
Question of Sport used to be on, and there used to be one segment. What happened next? Right? And like you don't know what happens next day. You're right. Yeah, Assad. Question of Sport. It's got in the chat. Like, do you think Ward called for it? I think he did. I just don't think he understood.
Yeah.
I think Ward called for it. I don't think he understood. He wasn't even a swipe. Was it a swipe? I think he tried to place it out of that's the thing. It wasn't a wild swipe. He tried to control it out, kind of like in a controlled manner. And you're right, the ball just looped and forever. And I just thought, if it's your day, it goes in. If it's your not, and you're playing shit and you don't deserve it, it doesn't go in. But today was none of those options. We were playing shit. We didn't deserve it, and yet it looped in. That was supposed to lift us, right? How did you feel when that went in? Did you celebrate it?
I think it took so long to hit the back of the net. I was a bit like, I don't know what's happening here. Like, but yeah, it went in, and like sometimes you just need a stroke of luck. Now, look, we don't think we're going to go on to get another bit of that luck, but in games, I do feel like at times Liverpool have been unfortunate in situations, even this season. So when it happened, I was a bit like, okay, there's your luck. That's your lot now. Start playing. No excuse. You can build momentum on this. Leicester will feel like they've done well and got through the first 30 minutes to be ahead even better. You know, let's turn the momentum from us being a bit feeling sorry for ourselves and playing poorly, and let's put it on them. You know, let's hit them where it hurts and say, you've had a great half an hour and you're still not ahead, kind of thing. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen, and that's what upsets me the most. And that's where I really do feel for Klopp, because that's on the players. Do you know what I mean? He can't do much more. The players are on the pitch. They should recognize that and build from it. And I don't think they did. They had the ball more, but they weren't really doing anything intelligent with it.
Ahmed, channel member, says Klopp on Darwin Nunez. I see all the positive signs. I like the crowd tonight singing about Darwin. It's easier to enjoy his game. He is a real handful. I guess we equalize, and you're right. This is supposed to lift us again, another lifeline. We're supposed to turn it around and really heap the pressure on them. For the first time in the whole game, they looked a little bit vulnerable. Not even that much, to be honest with you. Not even that much. Just a little bit vulnerable if we were any good in that phase of play. The only good phase of play in that is, I think, Mohamed Salah finds him with that pass, is it? When he gets through for the goal? I can't remember, guys. Let us know. Is it Mohamed Salah who puts him through? Shows blistering pace as he does. Just when you think it needs a little... Do you remember Robbie Keane used to do those finishes? Just a little dink at the end of it. I thought, come on, Darwin. Get your goal, celebrate, and then it will just lift you. Agonizingly hits the post, Cav. And I think to myself, but suddenly, like the superhero that Woot phase is, swoops in, the hero, the darling of the cop, swoops in.
Sign him
up, man. January window, first signing. Woot fees. Bro, that guy, what must he have felt like? Because hits the post, comes out. It wasn't even one of those, there's nothing else he could do. I think there's other things he could have done, Cav.
Hey, do you know what? Let's go back to it, right? I think it's actually Ox that goes up for a challenge. He goes up with his foot, and I talk about winning 50-50s, right? It comes from nothing. It was a 50-50 challenge. Ox won it, and it falls to Nunez, and he takes 1 foot out, breezes past Amati. Like, honestly, a mismatch that was never going to work in Amati's favour. The guy has got blistering pace. And he took that touch out. It was a great touch, ran onto it. And you're dead right. Once you see Ward coming out, there's so much time for Nunez to think about what he's going to do. You just go and chip it, please. Just lift it over him. And when he does...
sometimes, when keepers come out, sometimes they make it really difficult you and you think, oh, how's he going to finish this? Because you can see the play. You can see the play and you're thinking, shit, he's took a wrong touch, and then the keeper's done too, like, the keeper's played him. It was neither. Yeah. He took all the right touches, as you say, and the keeper didn't really make it difficult for him.
Yeah, and you could kind of see Ward going down already. You know, like he kind of committed himself. And to be fair, when we talk about the chances Nunez has missed in the past couple of games, that's not what's happened. The keeper's actually covered the front post well, or stayed tall, as we compliment Alisson we're doing all the time. Stay big for as long as possible and make yourself cover as much as the goal as possible. Ward doesn't do that. He just commits himself, goes down. As soon as Nunez lifted it, I was like, goal. I was off celebrating. You asked me if I celebrated the first one. I celebrated that second one.
I could see it veering away, Cam. It started off like goal, but yeah, I could see. It was agonizing again. Two of the most agonizing own goals you're ever likely to see.
Oh, and when it hit the post, I went from like ecstasy to not again. And then as I thought not again, this West Foot just rifles it in the net. Like he doesn't fumble. He actually lamps it into the back of the net, and you're just like, oh, Sam, mate, cheers, we'll take that.
No, but you know what? It's one of those. Do you remember? Do you know when people? You know when attackers or anyone scores and the ball comes out the defender and they lash it into the goal for frustration. It was almost he's lashing it in through frustration, but you shouldn't be frustrated, son. He's missed. It's almost like he thinks the ball's rebounded back out to him, right? He's at the back of the goal. It's come out to him, and he just lashed it into the goal, like frustrated, like we should have stopped that. Wait, hold on, son. Do you realize you just scored? You just scored for us, mate, and you've given us a 2-1 lead. I'll tell you what, man. I couldn't believe the guy's like, what are you supposed to do in that situation as a player? And he's fairly young, you said as well. I remember we spoke about him before as well. He's fairly young. You know, horrible feeling for him. But absolute get out of jail wild card for us, right?
Guys, remind me in the chat, I can't recall another time where we've had that much luck, I'll be honest. Like, there was 3 goals in today's game. We scored none and we won. Like, make that make sense. I don't know how that even happens, but look, rival fans are gonna as they always do after every win. They go, you're lucky. Yeah, you know what? This week we are lucky. I'm not even gonna argue we are. It's pure luck.
100%. Miyata sends in a super chat. Says, I don't think I've seen bad finishing than Nunez. Look, it's a difficult one. I don't want to do it week by week. He played well today. That's the worst part of it or best part of it, I don't know.
What I would say on his finishing today, just quickly, is he was doing the right things. You know, where sometimes he's had chances and you're just like, why are you doing that? Why you hit that across goal? You know, why you done that? Today, he tried to lift over the keeper. That was the right decision. Obviously hit the post. And there's another one that Naby plays through to him where he just lifts and kind of curls it. Again, right decision. It's just that, you know, just got to do it. Yeah, it's just got to do it.
What's good? What's good is 4 wins in a row with 2 points off 4th. But that's it. That is it, bro. Nothing else is good right now. Shocking performance from Hendo. We've discussed it, bro. We didn't hold back. Honestly, we didn't hold back. We didn't defend our skipper or whatever and everything. We called a spade a spade. Well, I think we did. Hopefully, some guys obviously go OTT, but I think he was bad. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I expect bad performances from Elliott, but Hendo, Jesus, he struggled just passing the ball. Don't want to see Hendo as lone 6. What do we do then? If Fabinho was, thank God he wasn't injured. It's just a personal matter. Obviously, his wife expecting, so hopefully he comes back straight away. But Fabinho hasn't been great, but I know he was better in the last performance against Villa. So we put Fabinho back there. Today, Elliott picked up an injury, looks like a fairly tricky one. I probably misses Brentford. automatically then you've got a decision to make, Cav, because without what we've got. So Thiago's got to stay in there, and then you've got a decision to make. Do you bring in Naby, who's out of favour in terms of not signing his contract, or Bejitic? I don't think there's any other option as of now.
I don't
Curtis
think
Jones is out. Yeah.
Yeah. God, here we are again talking about what midfield we could possibly put together. Like, oh God,
it's got to be. It's got to be an out of form Hendo, horrendous form Hendo. Thiago, who looked good, he made that brilliant slide tackle, didn't he? Interception in the first half when it was like 3 against 2 or something, right? Mm-hmm. And a couple of times he beat his player with a bit of body feints and whatnot, but I don't think he was brilliant overall as well. So I don't think he's playing well. My point being, coming back to with what Yo was good saying, is Henderson, he hasn't got anywhere to go yet. We don't know how to change it up here, right? Mm-hmm. Or is there?
Yeah.
Or would you bring in Naby next game?
No, I'll be honest, I didn't see enough from Naby when he did come on. I thought when he come on against Villa, he helped control the play a bit more and keep the ball. I didn't really see that from him today. I think he just had a bit of a passive performance. Like, and don't get me wrong, the second half was really weird. Like, neither team looked as though they wanted it. You know, neither team Leicester were behind. They didn't particularly attack, and we weren't particularly attacking. And it was kind of just this seeing out the time kind of game. So I don't blame him for not particularly making things happen. But in the moments he did get the ball, I don't think he did anything particularly great to warrant, you know, him getting a start. I still feel like he's a little bit away fitness-wise as well. I see him try and close down players, and I think it's just not quite got that sharpness. And I feel like it's understandable. The guy's not played for so long, but I do feel like it's a risk. You know, as bad as Henderson played today, just trying to chuck him straight into a starting lineup against Brentford, who got a good result today, and they're at home, and we've seen it before. If they get the crowd on side, that can be quite a demanding game. So I think it's risky to try and throw him in there. Doesn't leave many options. I mean, Fabinho, if the reports are true that his missus is having a child, Monday's going to come around pretty quick. I'm not sure if he's even going to be available because he got obviously travel down to Brentford. I'm not sure if they'll go the night before. And even if his good lady had the baby today, he'll probably want at least a day or two, you know, to spend with the child. So I think it's unlikely we see Fabinho. We just probably have to put somebody in for Elliot if Elliot's not available and go with this what we had.
Blue Chip asks a question. He says, Grizz, does a Fabinho, Naby, Thiago work at home and then maybe go a little bit more pragmatic away? Question to you both. It's legs, man. It's legs. Like all those 3 players that you've mentioned, have they got the pace and power that we desire, that we require? I generally don't think they do anymore. Like Fabinho, I know, you know, he's had a good game, but I've said it. I've made a huge call, and I don't think we're going to see the best of Fabinho again. I don't think we're going to see that Fabinho again. Naby, if his heart and his soul and his mind isn't here, then I'll back Naby to the hill. Man. I'm tired of backing Naby anymore. I can't do it anymore, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. Until he shows me more. And I agree with Cav. I don't think he showed me that much energy and desire and passion in the last 2 games to suddenly, you know, forgive him and say, yeah, come on then, Naby. I'll support him and say, come on, Naby, in terms of support. But I'm not here going to blow his trumpet, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? It's like, he's not, I don't know if that's the right phrase, pause. Have I said the right thing there? I think I have. I don't know. If I haven't, forgive me. I didn't mean it in any other way. But like, praise him. Sing, you know, praise him. That's what I meant. And Thiago, look, Thiago can fit into our midfield. Thiago should be the first name on our midfield in any situation, in any game, home or whether away. This home and away, we're not in a position to be home and away pragmatic or adventurous. We're Liverpool Football Club. We need to be playing the game that we always wanted to play in the same manner. So
I also just to add to that, I don't feel like the Anfield factor is really there at the minute as well. We've seen it, Leeds beat us, you know, before the break, but teams have come into Anfield and they're having a go. They know that Liverpool can be got at on any given day. So I don't feel like playing home and away is particularly having a benefit on us or a negative effect on us in any way.
That's a shame. That's mad if that's the case. If that's how we're feeling, that is bad, right?
Yeah, I mean, as I said in the preview, I mean, it's Friday night under the lights, first Premier League game back at Anfield. It should be bouncing up against the weary, injury-struck Leicester side. Should be going out there like looking for blood and putting them.
It was the opposite. They came out hunting us down. Didn't give us any time on the ball. Interceptions, making our passing way off. Ryan sends in a super chat, says Nunez will good karma. I prefer Gakpo as a 10. Not yet, Ryan, not yet. Gakpo, I think, could end up as a 10, but I think he's too young and he needs to learn the position a bit more and become a bit more physical as well. Because watch what he wears that top. When we see him in a red shirt, he's another one who just needs to hit the gym. Cav, they need to hit the gym, bro. Like too many of them looking. No, this is winding me up now. Like every team's bullying us. All they know is to put some muscle and brawn in midfield, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, exactly. And the trouble is, like, Virgil, as I thought he was pretty good today. I thought he was even better in the Villa game. So I'm hoping that, like, this suggestion that he's saving himself for the World Cup is true and that he's actually better in the second half of the season. He's not the guy that just dominates every situation now. Like, he's not, where any ball sort of went down his side, you'd think, don't even care about it. Don't care what type of ball it is. Don't care what pace is on it. Don't care, the angle of it, what height it's on it. I expect him to win it on the ground, in a foot race, in the air. Now it's a bit like, he's not going to dominate. We can't solely rely on the brilliance of Virgil anymore as well. That alongside the midfield not doing its job, I feel like that's why we're so defensively vulnerable. And then, as I touched upon earlier, the forwards, Nunez, I give a bit of a bly with because he's new to the club, but I'm a bit like, the forwards have to help the guys out. Sometimes the best form of defense is attack. That is true. But actually, the whole team needs to defend as a unit. So I'm expecting Salah to track back and put pressure on the ball and cover passing lanes and stuff like. It also needs to, if the ball's starting from the opposition's defense or a goal kick or whatever, you need to defend from the front. You need to defend as a team, and we don't seem to be doing it well at the minute.
We don't. Got a super chat, obviously, from people are going to start giving us suggestions on what we need to do. Dam says Tony Cruz retires end of season. Hendo finds shame. I mean, I don't know what to make of Henderson in terms of going forward. Well, what can you do? What can we do with Henderson? We can't sell him now. No one's going to really buy him. He's just got to be around the club and just play him when he's fresh. It's becoming glaringly obvious that him, Matip, probably Fabinho as well, three of them can't play every 2-3 days. That's just the way it is now. And we have to accept that. It is the way it is. But look, we get into the second half. Well, quick super chat from Ivan. He says 2 points off 4. We keep moving, 4 wins in a row. Look, that is the positive side of it. And that is ultimately, that is what sort of we have to take away from there. But that second half, we go in 2-1 up front. Ryan sends in a super chat, says Caicedo and Jude, we need power. Oh, absolutely we do, mate. We absolutely do. We know it. They know it. It's just a matter of if we can get bodies in, man, and do the deals. We know it now. It's glaringly obvious that we're after midfielders and at least 2, like minimum 2 midfielders. So at least we know that they've acknowledged it, so to speak. Do you find any solace in the second half, or is it much of a muchness? Is there much to talk about in the second half? Do we stretch them and catch them on a counter a couple of occasions? Because I know you've wanted to bring up something, I guess. Here we go.
Yeah, I know everyone's going to reply to me like he gets goals, he gets assists. What's he got? 22 goals and assists in 23 games or something like that this season. And I'm not denying Salah's quality and how important he is to our team. But I have often felt, not only today, but points this season, that he is just kind of hiding a little bit. And I suggested the other week that maybe he's conserving himself, knowing that the front line's a bit depleted and he's the only guy on that side. Maybe he's choosing to pick his moments in games. But I feel like games like today we've seen against Forest and against Leeds and stuff where you're really looking for someone to just drag you, just get hold of it and just create something, make something happen. You know, put a bit of, you know, like in fights, when boxers fight, sometimes you just got to, it's not every killer punch. You got to just put a jab on a boxer, you know, you just got to have a little hit. And I feel like Salah should be that guy who's the most experienced guy in the front line, the highest paid player at the club and in history. Just pick up the ball and just do something for me, make something happen. At the minute, it's actually Nunez that's doing that. And I just think this guy can't get away with this, because he'll go and he'll probably get 2 goals in the next game, and then we'll look back over the course of 4 or 5 games and go, Salah did his job, he's sound. Well, no, not really. You can help the team out more in these games. And I do feel like, as I say, as an experienced guy, a leader in that team, he really should be just doing a bit more for me. You know, what excuses do we have on days like today where we've got Virgil there, we've got Henderson there, we've got Salah there, Robbo, Trent? Stand up, be accounted for, you know, and he's one of them that I believe should be doing it. You're mute, Grizz.
No, I agree with you, Kev. I know. Obviously, the spotlight's always on Nunez because the big match transfer, big money transfer, etc., etc. But you're right. If we calm down and analyze it and deep it, no one scored today for Liverpool. I mean, how do you get away with that? How did we get away with that? Nunez had 2-3 chances. Salah had 2-3 chances. But notice what I've just said there. Only Nunez and Salah. No one else had any chances. And what did I discuss about forwards? The debate over forwards and midfielders. I said, we've got no goal scorers. Like this is mad. I don't know what to make of the chances he misses. So he has that one where he's clean through again. Brilliant play from Nunez again. That through ball is something that we haven't seen from Nunez, isn't it? It's showing us. He's showing us a few more and more sort of weapons in his armory. So he's got that little through ball, slides that through ball to Mohamed Salah. Maybe Mohamed Salah didn't anticipate it. He thought, whoa, where did that come from? Does everything right again, and it drags it with his right foot.
Yeah, it was quite surprised that Nunez actually did that, wasn't it? When he sort of drove, because he does get himself, when he does come back deep, obviously he's usually on the shoulder of the defense. He comes back deep and he tries to make something happen. Usually just takes a man on for pace, you know, knocks it and runs, doesn't it? But in this occasion, he picked his head up and then he tried to pick his man out, and it's a brilliant pass. It really is. It's an exquisite pass, you know. And Salah's first touch just lets him down. I think takes it too far wide, and then he's got no choice but to hit it on his weaker foot. And then obviously gets good contact on it, but hits it too straight at Ward. Nunez, I felt, improved in that sense in this game. I don't know if I'm clutching at straws a little bit, but I felt like in the box, he was picking his head up a little bit more. There was that chance where he was sort of on the right of the goal and he cut back. Instead of, we're used to seeing him just whack it at the goal. He actually cut it back and he tried to pick Salah out. Now, given it wasn't a great pass, and Salah ends up, just through the play as it transpired, getting a shot away at goal. But I felt like he picked up his head a bit better. You know, looked like he was linking up just a little bit better, especially with Salah. But ultimately, wasn't really. Well, in fairness, that was a chance for Salah. You know, because Elliott makes the blind
Outside
run to take the defender away, to allow Salah to take the shot away. You actually seen Klopp sort of berating him on the sideline. I think at this point, because it was later on in the game, he was a bit like, you need to be taking these. Like, you're my guy. I need you to tuck this away because this game's hanging in the balance. And that's a good chance. You're in the box, you know, just outside the 6-yard box, I believe. You've got to tuck them away, man. You know, there's only so many chances you're going to be getting. You've got to take one of these.
You're right, because that's what it needs. When you're in a game like this, you're dying for that third goal. And I thought, we're going to catch them. We're going to catch them. They're going to lose shape. They take off Ndidi, bring on Tielemans. I thought, we're going to outrun them. We're going to... Because we bring on Naby, we bring on Bejitic. Well, Bejitic came right at the end. Gomez, he started doing this sub now where he takes off Trent just before the end. I think it's just to preserve him and make sure he doesn't pick up any sort of injuries near the end, because Trent had a stop-start season, etc., etc. But not a lot else he could have done, right? Robertson goes off with an injury. That's not good because he doesn't go off easily. But he wasn't having a great game, was he, at all, in the first place?
Nah, someone put it in the chat earlier on that maybe that injury actually saved him a little bit because he was having a bit of a stinker, in fairness to him. And he gave away one or two passes that were just like, there's no excuse for it. Like, it's absolute howlers, you know.
Check this out, Cav, though. Check this out. This is why the crowd probably didn't even hear them shouting at each other, right? Because Robertson and Henderson are our shouters. They're the aggressors as well, to get rally the troops type thing. Virgil and then these two. Now, the fact that they were having stinkers meant they weren't doing that aspect as well. So not only were they having stinkers themselves, their passes were going astray, simple passes, getting caught, getting beat too easily, not aware defensively, no passion, no aggression in their play. They lost their voices as a result. And therefore that drags the team down even more because they're the communicators in our team. Do you know what I mean? It's a shit show all round.
Yeah, great point. Like, and we're speaking about Henderson earlier, and should we took him off and stuff? As it, because he was so bad in the game. Like, what kind of right does he have to be shouting at everybody else that, although they weren't great, they were better than him? Like, you lose that kind of power, really. You know, I think he shouted at Elliot at one point, and in my head I was thinking, Elliot's probably looking at this guy going, "What are you shouting at me for? You'd be worse." Yeah, you know, you're the captain. But it's probably. They probably just need to continue with it. They need to continue talking and vocalizing and just do all the same things, you know, that make you successful. Because if you give up you know, you're not playing particularly well, and players can have bad games, you know, they can have off games. But if you do give up on that communication as well, it's another thing that's not going to go right for you. So yeah, they probably needed to just we talk about being mentality monsters and the experience of these players and stuff. That's why it's frustrating in these games, because they're not only quality players, but they've got the experience. They know what to do to get themselves out of these kind of holes. You can have a bad performance, but you learn through experience what you need to do to just get yourself back into the game. You know, sometimes it's just convince yourself, shout at everybody else, you know, and just do everything really simple and basic and just convince yourself that you're going to get back into the game. And it did look like a few of our leaders today, Robbo, especially Henderson, they did lose their voice. They did, yeah.
Yeah, it looked a bit, they looked a bit demoralized, Cav. I don't often say that about these guys. Like, they looked demoralized as together. It was like they didn't have an answer. Then as a result, I didn't really see Thiago. Thiago's look, people are saying, "Oh, you're harsh on Thiago. Thiago's the best player for us." I agree with that. I'm not denying the fact that he was the best player for us. I'm just saying he wasn't great as Thiago can be. Being the best player for us wasn't that hard today. You know, it was very easy to be the best player. Put 3 passes, complete 3 passes, and you're pretty much up there. Do you know what I mean? That's how much Robertson and Hendo and Elliott stank out the gaff. We've spoken about Mohamed Salah's chances. You're right. Darwin Nunez again. What a lovely goal that would have been. That reminded me of Torres, another Torres goal where Torres used to just put me in the top bins there, and that would have got the cop going. It's just so close to being exploding into the cop. Do you know what I mean? He's so close to being like his song was being bellowed out, but it was being bellowed out through support rather than joy and elation. We're waiting for that, aren't we?
Yeah, and like we've seen online a lot of criticism that Nunez is coming for the past few weeks, well, past week, couple of games. But match going fans, you've heard the cop, you know, support them today. They clearly can see that there's a player there. He's doing something for this team. They can see the quality that he has and the play he's probably going to become, and they're supporting him. And it also comes from a place of the fact that we know we need him. We need to get behind this guy. You know, we've
got no option, Cav. If we don't have, listen, again, I'll say again today, and obviously today's more obvious than what we said about Aston Villa. I think you said it against Aston Villa, and I'll say, and I'll repeat it today. Without Nunez, we don't win today again.
Yeah. And that's the impact he's having despite missing all of these chances. He is the main reason we carry a threat in these games and that we are managing to score goals. We didn't score today. We won somehow. We didn't score. But he is the guy that's carrying us. And I think the crowd today, they recognize that. First game back at Anfield, they recognize that, look, if we're going to score goals, it probably is going to be through this guy. I mean, Salah got some of the same treatment as he missed a bit of a chat, but I think the crowd are recognizing we need to get behind these players. you know, if we're going to be successful this season, we're going to achieve what we want to at this point, we need to get behind them. We need to encourage them, as despite what you probably think of them and how good they are and how good they can be and what future they've got at Liverpool. The here and now is this is what we've got. We've got to support them. We've got to get behind them, because these are the guys that are going to help us achieve our targets. Once we get to the summer, different conversation, we can assess where we're at.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, pal. You're spot on. This is it, exactly it. Because, you know, at the moment, barring a central midfielder, this is pretty much our squad, right? We're hoping and we're praying that we're going to bring someone in. But apart from that, we've got to just regroup, re-energize, because Brentford won't be easy. Now, we've been told that, well, obviously, I don't know if you watched it, but a channel member has told us that Tony got stretchered off tonight. Obviously, that's horrific for him. Absolutely horrific for him, as well as all the other things that he's probably going through right now or about to go through. But I'm just thinking that's a bit of luck for us, right, Kath? Because Tony is probably the informed striker in the Premier League, right?
Yeah, not only in the actual game, but set pieces, free kicks, penalties. The guy's brilliant, you know. So he's effective anywhere around the box in most situations. Good in the air, good movement. His link up with Mbeumo is really nice to see. And Mbeumo does a lot of the hard work, and it's really quite an underrated footballer. Beautifully on the ball,
and it's a very good partnership you've spoken about there. Them two, not the most glamorous names, right? Maybe not the most technical, especially Mbeumo. Mbembo. How did you say it?
Mbeumo.
Yeah, you're good, man. How the F did you get good at this? All right, but okay, you're good now. You've overtaken me in the pronunciation stakes. But you're right. They're an underrated partnership. They're not that much spoken of, but I think they should be more.
Yeah. And Mbeumo is one that I speak about with quite often, because Tony gets a lot of credit. And Mbeumo is quite often the guy that doesn't get the assist, but does a lot of the work before the assist. He receives the ball beautifully well. You know, his touch is excellent, and he'll receive it on the half turn, and he'll dribble around a player, and he'll do so much build up. And he works just off Tony, which is like a 9 and a 10 in some sense. But as a partnership, as you say, they're brilliant, and they're a huge threat to any team. So if Tony's out, that changes the whole dynamic of how they might go forward. So it is fortunate for us. But again, I'm done with this kind of previewing games, looking at what's working in our favour, because Liverpool seem to be winning when they shouldn't at the minute. And then when everything's going right for us and you think, how can we not win? We just turn up and put in terrible performances. The consistency is crazy with this team. It's so difficult to assess, you know, whether we've turned a corner. We've won 4 games on the bounce. Have we turned a corner? I don't know.
I mean, was that performance today of a team that's flying 4 wins in a row? Do you know what I mean? Really gearing up for us ending to second half of the season. I didn't see it. I mean, I don't know. I'm normally we're both actually very positive guys. Normally, like there's far more negative people out there in the Liverpool Twitter sphere and social media sphere that love it. In fact, they have it's almost like an unfiltered joy when they're sort of almost not proven right or whatever, but you know, got things to moan at. But you have to call a spade a spade. I believe in cherishing the good moments. Be happy. And then when you've got something to talk about it, put your head down for that moment and then get your head up ASAP and go again. And it's mad that we're having this conversation after 4 wins in a row, after a 2-1 win at home to Leicester City. But if you kind of analyze it, and that's what we're semi-doing, we're not analysts, we're not pundits, we're everyday fans. But there are things that are glaring out to us, and it's only fair that we speak on them.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the positive, if we're going to look at this in a positive light, is that the most important thing is you get points and you win games. We seem to be doing that, okay? And then you got to think, well, what is our actual form? And it's form whereby we're not playing well, but we're winning. And then you look at the squad and the quality that's in the squad, and you think, we can play way better than this. So if you want to be positive, you've got to think the wins are going to continue. We can't play any worse than we did today. Villa wasn't good at times, and we won that game. You've got to think that we are gonna put performances in. Like at some point, things are gonna click. Players and the team are gonna start to work out each other's play. Nunez is gonna start finishing. You know, Salah's gonna have his run again, where he's just, you know, scores everything and influences the team. Virgil's going to grow back into this, you know, not just defending with aura, but get this. These are quality guys. The squad, I know we talk about the injuries and the fact that, you know, it's frustrating the guys that miss in games and stuff, but the squad is blessed with quality, you know, and talent is throughout. And you got to think that the performances will improve. We just hope the results go with it. And then we still got a chance at anything. So strange game, strange season.
Continues.
God knows what. Who knows what to make of it? I suppose we're coming out on the right side at the minute. So that's all we can ask for, I guess.
Yo, what's good? Sends in a super chat again. He says Thiago was playing for 3 MFs today. It's difficult for him to perform when we give the ball away so quickly and when certain people can't pass the ball. I'm assuming he said men there. Think we lose the ball at high frequency. We certainly did. We spoke about losing the ball 24 times in that first half. I think that's surely some sort of record, man. That is surely some sort of record. Like 24 times for a team like us, and for the you'd like to think technically efficient players that we've got. That is very, very bad. Hassan says to you, Cav, number 7 incoming, strange season. Yeah.
You read my mind, Hassan.
But it's mad though, isn't it? It's like, how can you rule anything out? Like, I don't know, man. Gargoyle says it's always hard against Leicester, and I really don't know why, because it should be much easier today. It should be. That's what we all been saying. Like yesterday, we done the preview, and we were like, we literally said, like, what can go wrong here, guys? Right? There's nothing go wrong. Like everything's good. We're in 3 wins in a row. They're not depleted because they had brought back Ndidi today, and I knew that's going to be a problem. As soon as I saw Ndidi back in the midfield, I thought, here we go. Because he only has like a couple of games brilliant anymore in a season, and always against us. And that Amate is absolute pants. But again, he has magnificent performances against us. Luckily, his partner in crime today was massive, huge criminal. But you know, we make it difficult for ourselves.
Grizz, what do you reckon, Dewsbury Hall?
I love him, and I
silky, isn't it?
I love him as well. I love him. Honest to God, Cav, I love him. We can talk about all the big names, and we've spoken about like targets, potential transfers, who could fix us, who could do a job for us. Mate, can someone tell me how old he is? Tell me how old Dewsbury Hall is. I don't think he's that young either. I think he's at that age where it's kind of nice. Like, I think he's about 23, if I'm not mistaken. 24, mate. Lad, I hear what you're saying. He's not 26, man. He's about 24, I said. Could be a hidden gem for the squad. He's strong. We tried to rough him up. We tried to pressure him. He was calm on the ball. Take away his goal. Like, he took his goal brilliantly. Some people saying he meant that finish that we've talked about. Who were we talking about? Did he mean that finish in the World Cup? Messi. No, not Messi. Di Maria. So do you remember we were asking the question? Yeah. Did Di Maria mean that finish? Yeah. Do you think this guy bent? Because everyone's saying he bounced it.
I mean, I've not seen it back, but I felt like at the time it was just a bit scuffed. Not scuffed. I don't know. No, I don't think he meant it. I'd have to watch it back though. But I mean, credit to him for driving in the space. Like, God knows what Robbo's doing, trying to play offside. But like, 3rd man run. I'd love to see a midfielder of ours make a 3rd man run. Do you know what I mean? And go beyond the forwards and drive into that space. And he kept it on his left foot, which was ideal because Ali's a brilliant keeper one-on-one, probably the best in the world. But kept it on his stronger foot and made sure he hit it early enough that the angle wasn't closed down. And he put a bit of, I'd have to see how he hit it, but there was a bit of lift on it. And if he meant it, then credit to him. It's a perfect finish. Grizz, you gone or is it just me? Guys, let me know if the chat is gone.
Am I here? I'm back.
You're back. Sorry. You're back. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank God you're in control and you're a professional. But yeah, now, I mean, I don't know. I mean, let's ask the chat if people think he meant that. I'm not sure, as you said again, but overall, I agree with everything that you said about him.
I like him.
I like him a lot.
I do like him. I do like him. And look, he's not pulled up trees in this league by any means. But whenever I see him to switch on and watch Leicester, he does stand out.
But there are shambles, though, isn't it? But there are shambles, Cav. They're going to be like that. Yeah. There is shambles on and off the pitch right now, management-wise, financially, ownership. Not spending any money on the squad, players wanting to leave, Tielemans running down his contract. And he's a young man and he's not a household name until last 12 months or so, whatever. He's becoming a household name, but he's becoming a household name because of his performance. Harvey Barnes, I thought. We'll talk about Harvey Barnes because we have to segue into any positives. And the positives for me were Trent Alexander-Arnold. For me, man of the match. I know some people will say Thiago, no problem. I won't bite your head off if you say Thiago. But for me, Trent was back to his best. I don't know, because we never speak about his defensive best. But defensively, I thought he was immaculate. I thought he held the performance and he held them up, because people and I think you said as well, you think VVD was good. I think VVD was okay. And I think Matip was shambolic. And I thought Robertson was shambolic. So Trent, for me, was very good today. Very good. Don't know what you made of Trent.
Standout. Absolute standout. Couldn't agree more with you on the man of the match. Guys in the chat, let us know. But I think most people would probably agree. I think he was brilliant. And we know what the criticism of Trent is. It's his defensive duties. He switches off. He's in areas from goal kicks that he shouldn't be in. And, his positional awareness, his tracking back this season has been my biggest criticism of him. Just looks like the attitude's not there, the willingness to run backwards. Today he had all of that. But one thing I've never really, and I think this is where people criticize him wrongly in his defending, is it's always his positioning and his awareness and his tracking. One-on-one, he's a brilliant defender. He's come up against some really tough challenges before in Neymar and Sane and stuff, and we've seen him defend them players out of games. He was brilliant today, and make no bones about it, Harvey Barnes, given space, which he had today, can be a real handful. Very two-footed, can drive to the byline, can cut in and whip a shot. He's a good player. Fell off a little bit, in the past sort of season or two. He really peaked, I think, the season before last. Well, not peaked. He could get back to that, but not as good as he was, let's say. But still a real handful. And if he goes by you, you're probably not catching him. And if he's in on goal, he's a guy you'd probably back to take a chance, given the right angle. And Trent just nullified him. He just cut down everything. The guy was trying to go, round him in both the inside and the outside. And Trent just got his body there, got his foot in, won it, was strong, was aggressive. And he just, once he had it, then he was playing a nice ball down the line or playing it simple into midfield. I thought it was a brilliant defensive performance, absolutely brilliant. And I just wonder if now, after the World Cup, not playing so much, he's just got it again. Do you know what I mean? He's got that motivation back, because really there's no excuse for him now. Like he's not saving himself or anything. It's you play for Liverpool, there's no distractions. You either want to work hard and continue to be the guy and have the importance you have for us for the past few years, and we go on. And let's face it, if Trent's good, we're in with a chance at big trophies this season. Or he continues to do this lethargic, energyless performances. And it looks as though it's really hit home now, and the guy is actually willing to put the effort back in, because the quality is obviously undeniable. So I'm really, really, really pleased, because if Trent can do that defensively and lock off that sort of right-sided position, we know the quality and what he brings to our attack. It's a real positive. The two concerns for me is the right side of our defence and Trent, and then the midfield. And I feel like if he can continue to put that performance in, that might just be one problem solved.
Area that we have problem solved or relieved for now. Dave says Trent has definitely worked on his game. The break helped mentally and physically. But then you've got obviously likes of Eunice says, let's calm down. I need to say more games like that. Of course we do. There was one other comment about sort of something I can't remember now. Trent looked, he looked motivated. Apparently he's given a very good interview afterwards, people are saying. So I don't know if anyone can find us some quotes and we can maybe have a look at it. Lee says Gary Neville summed it up nicely on Sky. He says Trent seeing Trippier start ahead of him, who is less talented, would have hit home. And if Trent's got anything about him, right? I know we've spoken but sort of the limelight's been on the likes of a Sancho, and apparently questioning his attitude, Dele Alli, talented players that similar age to Trent now. I think Sancho's younger than Trent, or was Sancho around the same age?
Sancho's younger than Trent, yeah.
Sancho's younger than Trent. So but the point being, he's at a point in his career now that it's very open now. So what happens is when he was making the mistakes, but we were winning games of football, winning Champions League, winning the Premier League, it was covered over by Liverpool fans. And the noise was, am I here?
Yeah, still here, yeah.
Yeah, I keep cutting out. I think it's giving me signals now that we could wrap it up. But now that his criticism is out in the media and it's out in the public eye, and we're not winning games, it's more obvious now, and people highlight it more. So now he knows, and it's more, in his face. He's got to, He's got to rise up. He's got to rise up now, or he's going to become a also-ran, lovely on the ball, but now don't fancy him. Pick Trippier, pick Kall, Reece James, pick whoever, but don't pick him. He is the only one who could do something about this now, stage of his career.
Yeah, because there was periods in this season where I'm looking at him going, are you going to be that guy that drops off a bit like Dele Alli did? Because Dele Alli had all the quality, and he had brilliant seasons and it really helped Spurs. And then just fell away. And it's a bit unquestionable as to why. I think a large part of it is mindset. Trent was kind of getting into that category for me where I'm like, God, is this going to be a guy that just is brilliant for quite a while? Let's give him his dues. But then just kind of hits this period where he can't get out his own head and just figure it out and, just continue that progression and success. Or are you going to fall away because the pressure of being at a top club, especially your boyhood club and playing in
Does that add to it? That adds to it, doesn't it?
It might, it might. Every player, I think, hits a wall, if not more, in their career where they question what they are and they come under criticism and they have to react and stuff. I think for Trent, it probably hits home even more so because he's a fan of the club. So it's not only him assessing his performances, he's probably upset at the results, all like we are, And I think a lot of people look towards him as he is still a young man, and he's been a young man since he broke into the side. A lot of us instantly look towards Trent to impact every single game.
Yeah.
We look at the forwards, but Trent is I'm equally looking at Trent every week going, get me an assist, impact the game, do something. It is a lot of pressure to deal with. But it looks as though he's coming out that tough period on the right side. It looks like he's got his mojo back. And at times this season, he just looks sad. You rarely seen him smiling and happy around the place and stuff. And that was quite upsetting to see. But it looks as though he's not had a break because he was away at the World Cup. But it looks as though not playing is maybe helped him out a little bit. And he's sort of got his motivation back. He knows what his vision is now. And I'm sure Klopp worked with him. They figured a few things out. And it's going to be positive for both him and Liverpool as a whole.
I think I went missing for a little while, but you held the fort really well. I think my Wi-Fi is giving me signals now to kind of end the stream. It's been a wonderful stream. I think we started off a bit down, but we've realised we've got 4 wins in a row. We go to Brentford. The harder the game, or just I don't know. I can't work it out. We haven't got any closer to working out what Liverpool we are. Right? We haven't. We tried our best. But I don't think we've achieved anything because I can't tell you how we're going to perform at Brentford away. Let me see if there's any super chats that I've missed out. Albert says, I said it ad nauseam, no top 6 teams starts Elliot. Yeah, it's a big debate, isn't it? It's not a big debate. There's so many big debates about Liverpool right now. I don't think that's one of the biggest and at the forefront of our thoughts and debates. I feel it is a debate to be had, but I don't think it's at the forefront. But Ahmed says, channel member, he says, question to both of you: rate the performance of Klopp today, lineup tactics and sub timings. Go on very quickly because I do want to wrap it up. Go on, what do you think?
I think start lineup was fine. The team, 90% of it picked itself. I don't particularly blame him for that. I feel like Brendan set up his team really well. So credit to him. I didn't expect Klopp to change to suit Leicester. We should have just gone out there and done our own stuff. So that's great. I'm not expecting him to mix up lineups, formations, style of play and stuff. He doesn't need to. That's not the time for it. He didn't require it. Just need to go about business. I feel like the players let him down quite a bit today. With regards to substitutions, fair play to him for being brave and sticking with some of them players even after half time, because you could have pulled off any of them. And look, we didn't improve, but we got over the line. So, okay. And I quite like that he brings Trent off for Gomez, because that shores us up a little bit. I like that he's giving Bajcetic minutes, because I feel like he actually can come into a game and help us out when we just need to.
Did you see that? That was the only time the crowd got going, Klopp got going, when Bajcetic went thundering into that press or challenge or whatever it was. You know, why is it taking a 17-year-old to do that?
But we've spoke before though, Grizz. We speak about Doak in particular, and we're like, utilize this youthful exuberance, like this fearlessness. And today was probably a bit of a game for it, where you're like, they're probably not great tactically. They don't understand the system. They're probably going to get caught out on occasion, but you can utilize that fearlessness when the game's a bit drab. It's just nothing's really happening. Today, it was about seeing out the result, in fairness. I get that. But if there are going to be games whereby just throw them on, and the quality is probably not going to be great, but that energy and that fearlessness and that, like Bajcetic, he storms into a challenge, and it's just like, it doesn't matter what age he is, he did it because he's fearless, and it will help the rest of the team book their ideas up. It will carry energy through the team. So I like that he brought Bajcetic on. I hope that he does something similar with Doak, because I think they can really add something moving forward for us in that sense.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit. I didn't see how he could have brought on Doak today, even though we all wanted to see him come on, even get 5 minutes or 10 minutes at the end. Just a couple of runs at a tiring left back who's had Mohamed Salah to face, and then he thinks, all right, I can relax now. And then you've got a lightning young kid who's just attacking the cop. It could have been interesting, but no other subs. You're right. The subs that he made sense, kind of thing. Not a lot else he could have done. Maybe Carvalho, again, maybe coming on the other side, but again, hasn't, not the kind of player to bring in. Nunez, he played the full 90 minutes, didn't he? He couldn't really risk taking him off, because, again, the only focal point, the only outlet, Mohamed Salah didn't have a great game. But we got over the line. And now it's Brentford. It's no point trying to predict how we're going to play, what we're going to play yet.
Gakpo Day.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, no, he's not even going to be eligible for that.
But it'll be the second though, won't he? Be registered in the time? I thought he could be registered on the first.
No,
we chop it up in the preview.
Yeah, I don't think he can. I think it might be the cup game. We've got Wolves after that.
Yeah.
So I think it will be the Gakpo Day and Wolves. But look, we've picked out a couple of positives. Trent looks back to his best. Wonderful. It's always good to see Trent playing much better and not look like it's the end of the world. A few of the others, Thiago had a good game. And the beauty of us, I'd like to think, is they're going to be honest with themselves and know that wasn't good enough. Like the likes of Henderson and Robertson will know, Virgil will know. Like apparently he said that wasn't good enough in the interview afterwards. Mo, the thing with Mo is, very quickly, Mo doesn't affect him like mentally as it might others. So I'm okay with Mo missing chances, but Nunez got to start. Nunez got to start soon. Like I do worry about him mentally. Am I right to worry about him mentally?
He's not showing me any signs that this guy is worried about himself just yet. This guy,
okay.
Yeah, I think that at the point in which we see his head drop and he stops making runs and he stops the aggression, I think maybe we have a conversation then, because that would be worrying. But I think he backs himself too much, to be honest. The guy's got so much confidence and belief. I think Klopp's obviously in his ear every minute going, don't worry, kid. It's gonna come good. You just keep doing what you're doing. It's gonna happen for you. Don't worry about yourself. So I think he's gonna be just fine. I think he'll be all right. Is Grizzy, you sleeping or you're back?
I'm back now. See, I told you my Wi-Fi is giving me problems and issues. So I guess thank you very much for the lovely comments. Guys, we're going to wrap it up before it completely dies on me. Cav, nice one. Chatting a bit.
Pleasure.
People in the chat, smash the like on your way out. Subscribe if you unbelievably, crazily haven't. Channel member Tom Izzy comes in at the last minute, and of course he's a channel member, so I'll bring up his comment and we read it out. He says, big up Grizz and Cav. Grizz bro, I sent you a DM on Instagram, kindly check it out. Basically got a new IG account and all that, but just dropping by and wishing Happy New Year to you both. I will definitely check it out, my bro. Happy New Year to you from both of us and everyone who helps out my channel as well. I've gone again.
No, you're good.
I've gone again. Am I back?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I keep dropping out. But Tamizi, we'll check that out. Guys, like, subscribe if you haven't. We will be back for the preview. We will be back for calling. Tomorrow is Saturday, isn't it? And we'll just keep an eye on the socials and we'll let you know what's going on. Apart from that, it's goodbye from him and it's goodbye from me. Take care.